island, aka North America. So, how does an immigrant remove an indigenous person and replace themselves as a permanent resident?
Do you realize that there was an agreement made between our people way before the people without color got here? The black people agreed that they would sacrifice and do the slavery thing for us, or we would have been completely wiped out. We owe them such a debt. Don't be caught up in American racism. They don't want us to unite and be together because they're afraid of that we'll treat them the way they treated us. We're human beings. We could never be that.
According to a well-known anthropologist by the name of Margaret Mead, you don't come into a place with an attitude of entitlement, because people generally enjoy when you learn their language and their culture. As long as you come into a place ready to learn and join their society, it's okay. It's very flattering for all people when someone wants to be taught. And also, Margaret Mead stated, quote, "You have to do something pretty terrible to people before they come to regard you as a spy, rather than an interested explorer." And that is exactly what they did when they adopted our ancestors' form of government. The Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union was a set of laws which was used to form the first U.S. government in the year 1777. This was based on the information learned by the foreigners and through Indian relations. Each Indian tribe had its own confederacy and its own constitution, and they had a commander, which was the chief. This form of government allowed for the individual sovereignty of each tribe to take place and not to be imposed upon. It also allowed for trade relations outside of the tribe to take place amongst those who are the heads or chiefs of the tribe or clan. And this is the idea that the 13 colonies took for themselves. They created the Articles of Confederation, not as colonies, but as confederacies. There was a confederacy for each state, and this is why there is also a constitution for each state. This is also why when they separated from the Union that they called themselves the Confederate States of America. The colonies of the United States created a confederacy and a union which had the duty to, quote, "enter into a firm league of friendship with each other for their common defense, the security of their liberties, and their mutual and general welfare, binding themselves to assist each other against all force offered to or attacks made upon them or any of them on account of religion, sovereignty, trade, or any other pretense whatsoever." And they used a formal setting known as Congress to resolve their disputes. Congress is defined as a formal assembly of two or more representatives, ambassadors, or nations that comes together to discuss problems. Sound familiar? The House of Representatives, Congress, a commander-in-chief. And because these foreign confederacies were so few in numbers alongside the large amount of Indian confederacies, they decided to form a union, which is short for trade union or labor union, that ensures they would always be together for a common purpose. In most cases, the American Indian clans or tribes allegedly agreed to sign treaties with foreigners, or rather a foreign government, to ensure peaceful cooperation between themselves, dating back to the latter part of the 1770s. This is also around the time when our own people were pitted against each other for the purposes of disloyalty and betrayal, and the colonization of our people through paper genocide. Of course, this was all politics. So, the start of the Civil War was the very first government shutdown, because it was declared a state of emergency, whereas the commander-in-chief takes supreme authority and decides what could possibly settle the dispute and get everyone working together again. All of this leads back to the Emancipation Proclamation, and according to the original documents, which is listed in an exhibit for the National Archives, It reads that on the first day of January, in the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then thenceforward and forever free. It also states that, and I hereby enjoin upon the people so declared to be free to abstain from all violence unless in necessary self-defense, and I recommend to them that in all cases when allowed, they labor faithfully for reasonable wages. Which truly lets you know that slavery, as we were all taught in school, is royally incorrect. Because you can't let a slave know what slavery was all about. Then that person will realize that he or she may still be a slave now.